It's that look. It's that look right there. That look, like, test me, mother. Yeah.
And then there's a little old lady.
Knives for sale. Subverting expectations.
It's just clearly fan fiction.
But Loki, it wouldn't have been as exciting for the audience.
We're dedicated to a higher purpose. We're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
Doesn't this blend of blindness and blandness want to make you do something crazy?
Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to Talk Hard. It's always a Tuesday treat, something I'm always looking forward to. And then here we are, Highlander 2. But you know what? We're going to make the best of it. We're going to talk about the disaster behind the scenes. Everyone involved pretty much knew this was going to be a complete disaster. But you know what? We can still have a good time hanging out. We can talk about the Highlander series. We can talk about IPs. We can talk about stuff like that. So it'll be a fun time. So, Loki, my brother, here we are, my friend. It is a suffering week. It is one of endurance, and hopefully at the end it will make us stronger.
This crew does not react well to stinkers. No, I really think we do. But this movie sucks. When he says, "I'm rather glad the magic worked," no, it didn't. It didn't work at all. There was no magic. You might have had Sean, and you might have had, oh my God, I can't remember his name. This movie sucks so bad.
Well, Christopher Lambert tried to leave, and he couldn't get out of his contract. He tried to bail out. They rewrote the script on him, and we're going to get into just, oh my God.
Why did you make me watch this? And I had to watch the original on VHS.
I can't believe you did that though. This is why you're,
from the planet Zeist, brother.
Yeah. So, no, that I almost left the theater. And again, I was a poor college kid when this came out, man. So for me to leave a theater was like, you're leaving money on the floor. And I was like, I couldn't believe how bad it was. I couldn't believe. And watching the Renegade Cut, because some people have said Renegade Cut, it makes it okay. And I'm like, okay, no, can't go okay. Can't go okay. So, Ironcaster, you are partially to blame. At least a little bit to blame for us to be here, my friend.
Well, look, it's one of those things I figure, like, you know, we gotta have the bar to set things against and say, oh yeah, no, we could always watch Highlander 2, you know, as opposed to one of the many shark movies that have.
I know that's the alternative, folks, that he gives us behind the scenes. Is like, well, if you don't want to watch shark movies, we can watch Highlander 2. I'm like, oh my God, we let this man participate and come back week after week. It's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. And then Ironcaster's like, well, you know who really likes Highlander? The common nerd. Jesse's in the house. My brother, I have no idea why, as a Highlander fan, you'd want to endure with us, but we're very happy to have you with us, my friend. Thanks for being here.
No, I appreciate it. I might be the only bright spot on this panel because after watching this movie again, after not seeing it since I was a kid, because These were some of like the first movies I got to rent like the whole series like from Blockbuster in. They were some of the first times I got to actually see like boobies in a movie and stuff like that. And so it's like they kind of have a soft spot for me. And and it's I'm actually kind of entertained. I'm actually kind of giggity to go through this because I think it's gonna be really funny because I'm gonna be like, there's actually some good spots. Everybody's gonna be like, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm here for that. I'm willing to be the Lofty Pixels for the Highlander 2 movie. So
All right.
I don't know. Like, I gotta say, like, and kind of my opinion coming out of it to kind of set the bar is this movie's terrible. It does not make any sense. There's so many problems with it, but it's a fun watch.
I can't go there with you. I'm with Loki. So the panel is very divided. I am with Loki. This was cruel and unusual. I paused this movie several times, debating like how am I ever going to get through this movie? I did not watch it in advance. I did not watch it multiple times. This is almost the only thing I got done today. Now, someone like Jesse, you may not know, I watch everything at 1.5 to 2 speed. I'm running through mass amounts of content, blah, blah, blah. No, I got through just this. That's how long I drug this out, how many times I had to pause it. So, well, before we get too far, let me welcome Anime Night into the Popmatics Club. Thank you so much for being a member. We appreciate you, brother. And listen, today is a recording day. So yes, content as it gets done is made first available to those members. So hopefully there's something there that you can catch ahead of time. Right now, you can catch this week's What's Your Story ahead of time. So feel free to check that out as being a member. But definitely appreciate you and your support, everything we do here. So, and one of those members has been with me for a very long time is Christian. How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well. And yes, kicking things off with a $5 Canadian. Can't thank you enough, my friend. 4 great people worth $5 Canadian. Wow, man, Jesse's worth at least 2 of those dollars. And Loki and Ironcastere. I mean, I'm more like the quarter in that equation, I think. But man, I appreciate it so much. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. That may be something we need to kick back 1% to the box office fund for this movie because it definitely was such a financial disaster.
We're gonna make more money in this movie than they did.
I hope so. Bobby points out, so literally, Connor McLeod puts a force field around the Earth that would have been the same thing as parking your car in the garage with the door closed. Right? Bobby, I sat there with my mouth hanging open at the stupidity of someone who's supposed to be, 1,000-something years old, who's so dumb that the solution to the problem is to block out the sun. I literally sat there in the theater like, this is the dumbest freaking, like, who? Yeah, anyway.
Remember, he's supposed to have access to the minds and the memories of everyone who has ever existed, not just the immortals, but all the human beings on the planet Earth. He's supposed to, it's like Jesus 2.0, and he makes a force field that blocks out the sun.
It said it was like a storm. It was a storm inside of his head that if he concentrated really hard, he could pay attention to one voice out of it. Yeah. So literally all the consciousness of everyone.
I didn't think we were going to get there, but apparently with that access to all the world's knowledge, he becomes Bill Gates.
This is, Penny is here, also a member. Great. They headed out in the rain. It's storming here. If Pops does disappear, just know it's possibly the rain. Loki will take care of things. Hopefully he won't shut the whole stream down just out of vengeance because of it being the Highlander too. I would totally understand though. Zach's from the Great White North. How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing all right. And then Copa. Good evening, peeps. Yes, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I think I got all caught up on the chat. So yeah, let's briefly, because Loki, you rewatched it. I know I saw it in theaters. I think that's the one that Jesse would have seen on VHS, would have been the original theatrical, was like riddled with this concept of alien planet, alien race, Zeist, rewrite. It basically rewrote all of the mythology, contradicted nearly everything from the first movie, and made McLeod starts off with being just a complete moron. So Loki, having endured that today, which God bless you for doing both, but having endured that today, how much worse is the original VHS theatrical version to this one?
I think they're both just as bad. I don't think the Renegade Cut fixes. You find out more of things that maybe you had a question about. The problem is what do you do after they drive a garbage truck into a great movie? They're still going to drive that garbage truck into the great movie. They're still going to mess up a lot of everything that was good about the first movie. You just find out a little bit more about what happens to this person, what happens to that person. And instead of saying, we're from the planet Zeist, brother, they go, we're way forward in time, and they're going to send us back. They're going to send us back in time, brother. It's still a horribly shitty, terrible movie that makes no sense, that should have never been made. Say what you want about the series, but even the series was smart enough to go, none of this shit happened over here. We're just going to kind of do our own thing because we don't even want to acknowledge this movie ever existed. Please don't make us acknowledge the second movie ever existed, even with Michael Ironside in it, playing some kind of hippie crazy dude that they copied in heavy metal 2K back you whatever it was. It's still a horrible, terrible movie.
Ironcaster says that's your spirit animal, basically.
Yeah, just like the train scene where he's like going up, where he's hamming it up completely. I'm just like picturing Loki in the morning, getting everything up and running as he's got his theme going. He's got the Vikings going, oh, and here he is going, good morning, Valhalla, last stop.
I have to be honest. Again, I didn't even remember. I mean, I remember the train sequence, but I didn't know it's supposed to be going like at 600 miles an hour. There were literally like pieces. It would just be falling. I mean, I just paused it. I was face palm. Like, this is so stupid. Like, I can't believe, but you know what? I can. The Argentinian investors had all of these crazy ideas, and this is what we got, folks. It's so bad. And Bobby, no, I think the space aliens thing is, the rebellion is on a space planet, and you are basically being sent to Earth as almost like your penalty, with this sort of like redemptive promise that if you become the one, you could get back to the planet Zeiss and things like that. So the rewriting in the Renegade Cut is just they cut down all of that planet Zeiss crap basically and try to make it a lot less intrusive.
Which as a punishment is so baffling because, hey, you guys failed your rebellion, so instead of executing you like we rightfully probably should, like these monks who we have no idea who they are, what's going on with them, they've decided you're being sentenced to life, to immortality on another planet, where the only thing that can kill you is to have your head chopped off.
I like the fact
in
that
which case you apparently get like the godly power of all knowledge.
I guess that 2024 is worse than death on planet Zeist. It's basically what we know now.
Oh yeah, that's the other part. That's the other part I love about this. The fact that this takes place this year.
Yeah.
So reminder, people, 2024 probably ain't gonna be all that special considering Highlander 2 is set this year.
I don't know. A lot of hoverboards. Copa's killing it. Jacob Ironside's greater than Michael Ironside. That's great. Animation Overload is here. Hey, brother. All right, Jesse. So did you do what rewatch were you able to get through today? Was it just the Renegade Cut? I don't think you said you hadn't seen that version yet.
No, I hadn't actually seen that version before. Was the Renegade Cut? I'd seen the other one a whole bunch of times, and I know it's ridiculous and it's over the top, and the movie's absolutely insane. But you know what I mean? It's got a close personal part to my heart from back in the day because it was one of the first series I got to watch all the way through and stuff like that. And yeah, the movie makes absolutely no sense. It's completely and totally insane. I love the villain in it, though. I think he does an incredible job of playing just absolutely a nut job psychopath. So I thought that was great. I remember I was watching this and I'm like, I remember exactly what's going to happen in the next scene. Cause I loved it when he like picks up the kid and he's like, I bet you've always wanted to drive one of these, haven't you? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, me too. And he just like throws the kid on the ground. And I did not remember how fast that thing was going according to the thing on the screen. And I was like, okay, 200. I'm like, I get it. Okay. For one, there should be safety measures all over the thing. This thing shouldn't go past like 80 miles an hour or something like that to begin with. But like, yeah, cranking it all the way up to 600, I'm like, really? And then watching the guys like face peel back in that scene, I'm just like, this is insane.
Yeah, once you got to 200, I mean, that's like hurricane, like that's like destroy stuff hurricane strength. So it's just literally just flying off. But no, we're gonna go to 600 in 2024.
If you like Michael Ironside in this, watch Heavy Metal Fuck You, because he pretty much plays the exact same character in that movie that he plays in this movie.
So I have a quote from Michael Ironside. I read it to Ironcaster before we got started. So first off, we'll go through some of the cast. Christopher Lambert was like, he bailed out. He tried to quit on the rewrite, and they told him, no, you're under contract. You can't quit. So he was stuck. Michael Ironside was brought in. He says, yeah, listen, I hated that script. We all did. Me, Sean, Chris, we were all in it for the money on this one. I mean, it read as though it had been written by a 13-year-old boy, but I'd never played a barbarian swordsman before. This was my first big evil mastermind type. I figured if I was going to do this stupid movie, I might as well have fun and go over the top as I possibly could. All that eye rolling and foaming at the mouth was me deciding that if I was going to be a big piece of shite, like this movie, I was going to be the most memorable effing thing in it, and I think I succeeded. Yes, you did, Michael Ironside.
I absolutely 100% agree with that. He is the most memorable thing in there. Like, I think there's a couple of funny lines from Sean Connery right when he comes back, and like I really like the scene with the whole suit. It's like, oh, motivated men with when you throw a whole lot of money at them, you'd be surprised how quickly they'll move. Like, I think there were some fun tropes in it, but yeah, that he definitely stole the show. His character was insane and over the top in this.
If we were watching this together, Loki would have been looking over at me like, have you lost your mind yet? Because that scene is just so wasted time. Like, there's it's a fine little gag, and then it just keeps going.
Yes,
it's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and Pops is just losing his freaking mind. Like, I'm just pulling out pieces of hair. Like, oh my god, I hate this freak. And then after we do the train, which again, I'm like, I had to pause to get through this. Then this movie comes to a complete stop and just is boring out of all get out for like 30 minutes or so. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awful. I was so. Yeah.
I thought I was going to be able to get through today without medicating, but then Mark, the infinitely tired, my wrench, called me and said, don't you have Pops today? And I was like, oh no. And yeah. So that was the end of that. Short-lived. Thanks, Mark.
No, sorry about
like
that.
If we were all together watching this, like the bucket of popcorn would have just been dunked on me. Like, this is your fault.
I would have just, so the story is legendary in my family about how bad I like the movie. Because when we go to screeners, you're supposed to sit through the whole thing. It's pretty rude to get up in the middle of a screener when you're doing critic work to just leave the theater. But like Frozen 2, there's this sequence where like the reindeer just randomly starts singing and stuff, and it becomes like a 1980s parody or whatever. I leave the theater to go get some M&Ms or something. Like, I just got up and left. And my wife's like, oh my God, you're going to be in trouble. You're not supposed to leave. I said, I don't effing, I didn't say, I literally said effing, not the word. And I'm like, I don't care. This is such garbage. And people around me were looking at me trying like they were going to shush me. I'm like, no, this is freaking dog crap. You people are morons. You're buying like, so seeing Highlander today, my coworkers and people around me must be like, what is wrong with him today? He's in such a mood today. Loki, you feel my pain today, brother. My God. I was like, oh, that whole action sequence with the bad wire work and the crazy zany guys and just
the head when the head came off, like, it was so bad because it doesn't look like it cut. It doesn't look like like what they were going for was like the wire cuts his head off, right?
Yeah.
Instead, it looks like it hits him and it just peels the head back. I was like, oh, that is so bad.
It didn't separate.
I was waiting for the little piece of Pez to come out of his throat.
Yeah, and then it hesitates because they want to do like a shot of the body, so the body doesn't actually collapse like gravity. No, it hovers and then just flies into an electrical box so it could burst into flame. It was so dumb. Again, I have to hit pause. Let me go get a snack. Let me go do something because I need another break. This was an all-day affair for me. I could not get to this movie. It's so bad. So.
They stole that hoverboard thing from He-Man.
Oh yeah,
He-Man stole it from Back to the Future, and in both movies it sucked. Didn't matter. Besides Back to the Future, Back to the Future worked because they were just like, Zhu and Marty was doing his thing. then you take it into this combat thing where, oh, we're going to put He-Man on this hoverboard and have him fly around with the sword, and it looked like ass. Then you got this, oh, we're going to have these guys fight McCloud on these hoverboards, and it looked like ass. Yeah. And they just couldn't copy it. They couldn't get it right.
Well, what was weird about it too is it's like he just jumps on this thing out of nowhere, never having done this before, and all of a sudden he's like flying around like it's no big deal. It's like the most believable part of that is when when he ran into the truck at the end or the car or whatever.
And real quick, I'm gonna bring up just how ridiculous these two henchmen look, because they look like the CGI abomination Sonic the Hedgehogs. The ugly.
I don't even know what we're going for here. Like, this is just crazy. So, okay, is it I Spy pieces from other movies and props? Because this is filmed in Argentina, so I don't know what studio was being pillaged for props and stuff for them to get stuff from. Because, this was such I couldn't. Again, I remembered this, but I didn't really remember it. It was so much worse today than I could have imagined. Like, it was painful to sit through this sequence.
The laugh, especially like the laugh on the porcupine laugh.
Yeah. It was brutal. Was there any explanation if for some reason you were executed not by another immortal, but you had your head cut off like a guillotine or something? No. I don't even think the first movie.
Not in this movie. There wasn't. I know it might have been the television show that explained that, but
I guess the show does. Yeah.
You lost your head. You were dead no matter who did it.
Yeah. Like in this, this movie, let's not forget, has someone get their head cut off by getting run over by like a train.
Yeah.
Also, I'll add that if there is an immortal in range, they will get your power. They don't have to cut your head off. There just has to be an immortal in range to receive the power. If an immortal's not there, then that power just dissipates and it doesn't go to anybody. It's just lost. All their memories, all their knowledge, all their power is just gone. So no matter what, the head comes off, that's it. But who gets the power depends on if there's another immortal close enough to that immortal to receive it or not.
I think that answers Bobby's question pretty well, for sure. So bad. Made it to church. Good. You take care, Penny. Keep in touch. See you, Penny. Ironcaster, I don't know what you want to pull up. I agree with what you were saying earlier, Jesse, about like when we first meet Sean Connery, like he died in Scotland, so he shows up at a Scotland play, which is funny because none of them keep their accents, but that's where he's supposed to be. We don't care about all that. But I will say his charisma, his presence, and all that make that a pretty good sequence. And then of course the gag about the magic working. I didn't like it. But that was one of the least things I hated in the grand scheme of how bad everything else was about. At least there was like trying to make a gag. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, well, and you can't stop Sean Connery, even with really bad lines and stuff like that. Like that man just like bleeds charisma, So like that scene with him on the airplane with the brunette, like that was hilarious. That was cute.
He wasn't even acting.
That's just Sean Connery.
They just rolled the camera. Yeah, that was that was like when we did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, guys. We talked about how they would just run the trains around with Steve Martin and just film him do it. That was them just filming an airplane sequence with Sean Connery, and it was like, we're just gonna put this in the movie.
Yeah, so that's
all right.
I thought that was great, and there we go.
Ironcaster's favorite scene. It's going to get lifted into clips or something, I'm sure. He's obsessed with this sequence now in Loki. I haven't looked into face swapping it, but we'll figure it out.
I spent like a half hour trying to figure that out before the show, and I made a clip, but it's super rough.
Animation Overload, I see your comment. I'll get to your comment in just a minute. Let's go. So if there was a highlight of the movie, it is Michael Ironside, and it was particularly Michael Ironside in this sequence. Like later on, it's completely a knockoff version of Kurgan. His character is exceedingly dumb. Like the idea of, I'm going to go there and kill him yourself and take a risk of getting killed versus keep sending toadies to go kill him or worry about McCloud if he even comes back to planet Zeist. And just there's so many elements of him being a stupid villain. It's completely irrelevant. This sequence was at least fun. The 600-mile-an-hour thing notwithstanding, but yeah.
It did go on for way too long, and that was one of the things I noticed going through the movie. There was a couple of scenes that went on just a little bit too long. Like there was another one where she's walking up the spiral staircase, and I'm sitting there watching it for a second. I'm like, that went on for you could have done that in slightly less time. And that was another scene that I think they were just trying to go outrageous and just make it like crazy stupid. And that's the reason why that thing just kept going and kept going. It's like, oh, we finally had to get to 600 miles an hour before people started flying to the back of the train and having their faces stretched out and like, yeah, it got a little.
So
wild.
there's a Argentinian investor group, and then of course they were helping with the Davis Panzer Group who financed the sequel because they bought the rights to do the sequel directly. So this wasn't like the typical studio. Oh, this movie made a lot of money. Let's do a sequel. This was more like someone had bought the rights very early on. So these people, basically the original creators, were like, "Hey, listen, we made an extra almost $20 million for not doing anything, so we're good." The Argentinians and all these other people have all these crazy ideas they were interjecting into this film and what they wanted done. Like I said, Christopher Lambert wanted to leave. The director, Russell, is it Mulcahy? I guess that's how you say his name. He left the theater after the theatrical cut. He couldn't believe what they did to his movie. I guess he didn't want his name on it. So. A lot of them did their own stunts, which brings me again to Michael Ironside. I got to find that. We were talking about at Ironcaster about the cocaine, the stunt man. Cannot believe this story. It's just nuts. This is how bad this is, guys. Everybody, here we go. The crashing of the subway car was going to be performed by a stunt double, but the stunt double ended up getting addicted to cocaine during the shoot and was let go. Michael Ironside elected to do the stunt himself.
Uh-huh.
That is awesome.
This movie is full of this, man.
Oh, yeah, there's the eyeball. Yeah.
The actress, that's Michael Madsen's little sister, Virginia Madsen, that plays Heather. She did the movie. She did the movie so she could get a vacation in Argentina. She's like, yeah, it's a good payday. Plus, I get a free vacation to Argentina. Why not? And I get to hang out with Sean Connery.
And deal with the
fair.
Christopher Lambert nipple clause in the contract. Y'all know about that, right?
Go ahead.
No.
Tell everybody.
Oh yeah. So every single love scene that Christopher Lambert is ever in any of his movies, there will be a scene where he's sitting up and he brings the girl, he's got his hand on her back and he brings her up, kisses the boob. In every single sex scene he is involved in every single movie, there's the nipple contract where he's like, if I have a love scene with a woman, I have to arch her back up and kiss the boobie. I have to kiss the nipple. And he does that in every single movie he's ever been in. They've even asked him about that. He goes, no, that is in contract. I bring her up like a Frenchman. Oh, hello, my sweetheart. And I
It's
kiss
so
the
great.
nipple. I put the
You have to
nipple in my
admit, it is sort of a boss move to be able to figure to get it.
To be able to get it in your contract is a boss move.
This is a guy that was Tarzan, but then later when he does Highlander, he still didn't know very much English. They had to feed, the script had to be done in a manner that he could even pull off the English that he was able to do. Oh man. Yeah. So yes. The dude's got a legacy.
Yeah,
So yeah, you want to drive a train? That's an Ironcaster right there on the left.
Yes. That's a small.
You going? Do you want to drive the train, little boy? I bet you do.
I got candy too. Come on up in the front car with me.
This dude looks like the guy from Dexter. Totally. I paused that shot and with the guy, the actual conductor that was standing there, and I'm like, wait, is that freaking Michael Hall? Is that the guy from Dexter? Anyway.
Oh god, that's a really unfortunate pause spot because look, he has no pupils now.
He looks crazy in this scene. Again, this is him coming off a Total Recall. He was on a good run. He ended up with a whole bunch of movies. He has a long resume, man. Michael Ironside's got a lot of film credits.
Yes, it is.
The scene is just so crazy because it literally to set up and show that it's getting to be crazy for the people in the back. We have for no reason whatsoever a loose baby stroller just casually rolling down the
I know.
hallway.
Just why not? Yeah, because that makes sense. A train that's just going faster will suddenly have a stroller that will roll against the moment. Like makes again, okay, sure. In Highlander, it does make sense. So,
Can I answer that question Bobby Wold asked?
I'm sorry, I'm on so many. I've lost my train of thought here. How does a TV series fit?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, there we
So
go.
every single movie is in another dimension. Okay. So you've got the first movie, which he won the prize. Then you've got this which is a different dimension. Then you've got, because the alien crap and all the stuff they came up with. Then you've got 3, which is the final dimension. And then you've got 4, which was a continuation of the TV series. And then you've got that last movie they made that you're like, why did y'all even make this? This is the worst thing with the like super fast motion crap. And it's just like, yeah, no, you guys could have done a great job if you'd have just kept what you were doing with the series and done some good stuff. They came out with some really interesting movies on VHS from the series. So you'd get the letterbox edition of some great 2-parters that they came out with that were like movies that you could go to the video store. I remember when I saw, you've got Christopher Lambert on one side and you've got Adrian Paul on the other, and I was like, oh my God, they made a new movie. But it's not a new movie. It's the letterbox edition of the first 2-part of the series. And then you've got one where he fights St. Cloud, the guy that was named St. Cloud, and he cuts his hand off, and you get another episode with him. But it's all done in letterbox format, and it's like almost like they pumped the quality of those mini movies up. So besides the series and its movies, each one of these movies is in a different dimension, almost like a multiverse.
Yeah.
It's something I haven't gone through and checked out the TV series yet. Like, I picked them up on Vudu. I just got to sit down and watch them. Like, I'm kind of dabbling into a bit more anime lately. Like, I got to go back and finish up Hercules and then jump into Xena as well. So I'm in this little binge of like 90s shows.
That's a good run though. If you have Hercules, Xena, and Highlander, that's a nice trio to spin your wheels on for sure.
Eris
and then maybe
won't
after
watch
all that,
Xena. She hates her.
She won't watch what?
Xena. Eris won't watch Xena. She liked Hercules, but she hates Xena, so she won't watch Xena. I haven't got her to get into the Highlander stuff yet, so I'm working on it.
So I figure after all that, I'll probably get around to finally watching Buffy.
You've never seen
Never
Buffy?
watched Buffy?
No, I never got a chance to catch it.
Huh. I didn't think there was anybody who's watched less Buffy than me. Interesting. Okay, because I've only watched a little bit of Buffy, and I know, so yeah.
Like, I might have caught the odd episode, but
right.
I would be basically watching it all fresh.
There we go.
If you like teenage angst,
Dwayne is here. Got to jump back on Hercules and N64. Yeah. Animated series, indeed. Cool.
Well, that was
this
one of the
sequence. Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, because he I don't know if he's talking about the animated series about Highlander. I assume he probably is, because I'm pretty sure Overload and I have talked about this before. But that's one of the few reasons why, as a kid, the alien part of this movie that was in the original series didn't bug me as much, because they actually made a cartoon version of it that was meant for kids, where they actually kind of carried on with that and fleshed out that mythology a little bit better. Now, this is me looking at it as a kid that saw it in the early to mid 90s, So I'm sure if I went back and looked at the animated series now, I'd probably be like, okay, this was really dumb. But like, it was geared for kids. They used some of like the magical elements, like when him and Sean Connery do the little fingered bowl thing, which was really dumb looking at it now, but they actually kind of like, yeah, their version of the quickening. They kind of fleshed that out a little bit more in the animated series, because you had a good guy and he was trying to go around and acquire everybody's knowledge and power. So you couldn't have the good guy running around chopping everybody's heads off in the animated series. So they brought that in to make it where he could just transfer his power. And then if the bad guy tried to come in and cut the guy's head off afterwards, he wouldn't gain any of the guy's power, because they'd already done a quickening, and the hero of the story that was running around collecting everybody's knowledge and power already had it. So like, that's the only reason I didn't like the alien aspect of it. bug me as much because I knew there was an animated series afterwards that kind of fleshed that out a little bit better. But it still doesn't make any damn sense in the Highlander universe. It's stupid looking at the first movie and then jumping into this. It literally makes no damn sense. But
It's too late, McLeod. We've already shared the toxic orange juice.
yeah.
I was pulled up the animated series page. I was reading some of the synopsis. It reads like what Loki was saying earlier. It just kind of reads like an alternate universe of it all, though. It just reads like something else because it's Quentin. It's Quentin MacLeod and Don Vicente Marino Ramirez, and it's just a different version of everything. Okay. Okay.
That's the best explanation I think I've ever had for all the movies. Is it's all just in different universes. I'm like, okay, that actually makes sense.
All right.
Yeah, you guys watched this and you could have been watching Buffy. I know, Zach. I know. Only saw the movie. Oh, man, Dwayne. Yeah, you're missing. I mean, listen, I need to do a rewatch of Buffy from the beginning, but this year I'm doing Trek. So, this year is my TOS rewatch reactions. So, we'll see. But yeah, you can go back just a little bit to that scientist shot because this was the moment that when they cut it. So again, I think in the theatrical, okay, you watched the VHS, Loki. So isn't this scene earlier in the theatrical version, or is it kind of cut the same way?
It's cut up, and there's only little bits and pieces of it. They don't explain anything. It's just like we had to save the world. And that's pretty much all you get. You don't get into like a lot of him talking with his friend and why he was doing it, and Heather dying, and you don't get any of that explanation.
I knew they cut her out completely, and I just remember this happening in the world. The solution was let's just block out the sun, and I was like, "What is happening? This is so." I mean, now the Renegade Cut at least tried to explain what they were doing. Now I'm not saying that makes it smarter, but at least you could follow what was happening better. Again, it makes his character completely moronic. It makes no sense. And by the way, it is extremely insulting to hear people be this retarded, and then they're sitting around congratulating each other and patting each other on the back. And I don't know how many. I'm like, oh my gosh, Jesse, you were talking about wasted time. That was my brain in these sequences where they're sitting around. Oh, are we so smart and clever? That wasn't that great time. I'm like, oh God, dear Lord. Oh dear Lord, help me.
Well, and it's funny though too, is because like not per se the way they talk about it in this movie, because like the whole idea of like one satellite and one source power being able to cover the whole planet, stupid. But there actually has been scientific thoughts thrown out there about using massive satellites and mirrors to reflect the Earth's sunlight. Like there's been legitimate conversations about that kind of stuff in the modern era.
There's also some talk about trying to put dust into the air, which kind of alludes to my Bill Gates comment earlier. Also, I like how this apparently predicted that we'd be getting the Oppenheimer movie.
Basically, yeah. This was just Oppenheimer ended up on home video. This was okay. Listen, we can go real science. 1970s. I'm 90% sure it was a Newsweek article. We'll just do something. I think if you could do Newsweek, but if you do global cooling in quotes, you'll find the articles. They literally wanted to drop black soot on the ice to have a control burn of the ice because they were afraid of over freezing. So, yeah, scientists are not always as top in the class as you guys would think. Guys, the Renegade Cut is good, but not that good.
No.
All right.
No.
Hey, Lady Mist, thanks for being here. We're Loki and I are needing some therapy tonight. It's a little rough. It's been a little rough this week. So I'm moving down here. Let Ironcaster be on top. He can take all the glory for this nightmare.
There you go.
That sounds
I tweeted about this last time. I'm like, guys, this is just a fun movie, and like,
it is not. You did make a good case before we started, where like if this had nothing to do with Highlander, and what do? We came up with the idea of removing all the swords, and they just shoot people. They could just, as long as you die, not beheading, as long as they killed you. The idea of having an alien race rebellion situation, and you basically treat Earth like a penal colony. This would not have been as blasphemy as bad. It was still awful, but not as bad.
You bring up swords. One of the really interesting things, if you do a little homework for this movie, the original trailer for this movie, when MacLeod is fighting Michael Katana, it's Katana, right? Michael Ironside's character.
Yeah, Katana.
He's got his claymore. He has his MacLeod claymore in the trailer while he's fighting Michael Ironside's character at the end of the movie. Earlier in the movie, you see Ramirez put the katana, the dragon head katana, into the ground, and he holds up the fan, and McLeod leaves, and the katana stays there. But then McLeod's got the katana at the end of the movie, and he doesn't have the claymore. Why does he have the claymore in the trailer? Because these dumb sons of bitches didn't know what they were doing with the movie. They had no idea. And you can't get rid of that. You can't get rid of the iconic, the Masamune. Anything that's Muramasa or Masamune, you cannot get rid of it and replace it with a Scottish claymore. It does not work.
Yeah, and I thought that was weird too, because I was like, when did he stop using at what point did he stop using the other guys' big, ugly black swords, and where did he pick up the katana at? Like, I was like, when did that happen? Because he switched completely swords halfway through, like 3/4 of the way through the movie.
He stole the guy's he stole the guy's rapier when he was at the Shakespeare play. So he took his sword.
That was Sean Connery. But yeah, I was talking about Christopher Lambert's character. But yeah, I wondered where did that sword end up at too? I don't know. That was weird too. So many missing swords in this movie.
I'm with Loki. They didn't care. It literally it's just a crap fest of just stuff happening. Like, I don't think. Yeah. Just Joe is here saying, yeah. They said that you would be over here suffering, Loki. So it's public knowledge that you're over here being tormented on Pop Show. So. Loki is secretly a Highlander 3 fan. I can sense these things. Maybe.
No. Mario Van Peebles completely shits all over that movie when he's like tongue in the air and he's like, there can be only one. I was like, nope.
Oh, okay. Here's a good question. So, Bobby, is this worse than Crow City of Angels? I'm going to say this is way worse. On City of Angels, I lasted at least 20 minutes or so before I paused it and had to take a break. So that's way better than I did for this movie. This movie, I didn't last more than a few minutes and I had to pause. This movie, it seemed like intervals of like 6 to 8 minutes. I was always pausing for a break, just face palming and just, City of Angels is terrible. Trust me. I'm with that. I'm sure Loki even hates it more than I do. But this was way worse. This is definitely. I get why this is a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. I'll throw you a bone on another little tidbit. There is a trailer for City of Angels where you see the grave of Eric Draven, and it says sometimes they come back again, and you're like, why the hell did y'all? Why did you do this? And it's because when they were gearing up for production of when they were gearing up for the release of The Crow, they had no idea that it was going to be received like this, and they were already considering just bringing someone else in to play Eric Draven. And after all the outpouring of support and the fans, they were like, yeah, we're not going to be able to get away with that. And they rewrote half the script in City of Angels. So, yay?
Yeah.
Yay. No, nay.
Yeah, that was the story.
I've only seen... And maybe I should go back and watch City of Angels again to see if it actually is worse than this or not. But I've never seen City of Angels more than once.
Yeah,
it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I love The Crow. Absolutely love The Crow. I even kind of like the television series, although it was really weird and wacky too. But the City of Angels was so bad, I never went back and watched it again.
Yeah, if you ever suggest that Ironcaster, I will not be here that day.
We're not doing City of Angels. We're not doing City of Angels.
And the thing with that, like, that was one I don't even want to recommend, because it would be like, it kind of stepping on Brandon Lee's grave to go and talk about that. Like, I do not want to do that one. That one is hallowed ground. We do not go there.
Yeah, that's the Muramasa. Connor has the Masamune, and Adrian Paul Duncan has the Muramasa. So they have the good and the evil. The original Japanese tale was that Masamune trained Muramasa to be a swordsman, and Muramasa challenged his mentor, his master, to a competition of what could kill the most, draw the most blood, which blade. And Masamune put his blade in the water, and all the fish and all the leaves swam around it. They didn't get cut. It didn't cut anything. And Muramasa took his sword and put it in and just cut everything. It cut the water, it cut the leaves, it cut the fish, it just killed everything. And he said, I won. Your sword didn't cut anything, and my sword cut everything. He said, no, my sword knows when to draw blood. Your sword draws blood indiscriminately. Considering Duncan goes evil and goes crazy in the series, it actually kind of makes sense that he would have Muramasa's blade instead of Masamune's blade.
I honestly
awesome.
did not know that. That's awesome. That's some
awesome.
really cool lore. Yeah, that's hella cool. Thank you for that.
Copa doubles down with Speed 2. Again, I say nay. I couldn't do it. Almost walked out. No, not doing it. Not doing it. Mrs. Pops would watch that one, though, because she likes Jason Patrick. So I could be in trouble if that were to come around the horn. But I'd rather just sit through something else. All right. So what do we think about this guy? John C. McKinley. Just phoned it in. It's just so weak. It's just so generic.
The thing is, like, he's most famous for his role of Dr. Cox in Scrubs, and it's just like kind of unfortunate. It's kind of one of those unfortunate matters where that role just so overshadows him that it's kind of hard to see him as anything else. Is I think the biggest problem here.
It's funny you say that because that came along so much later than all these roles, right? Because he was in Wall Street and Platoon and, you know, all these movies that he was in long before that role. So it's kind of funny that you say that.
They carved out a little niche for him in Hollywood. It was like, please put good actor here to play douchebag, and he signed up for every role.
Yeah,
Yeah.
smarmy,
It was one of the Bobs in Office
smarmy,
Space.
douchey, you know, that kind of guy. You're wondering, yeah. And just
I
a
think-
lot of these movies.
I think the best part about his character was watching his jewels get grabbed at the very end and watching him get thrown out the window. Because he was such a generic, smarmy jerk that you're like, I don't even care to watch him get a good ending or have him get like a good fight scene. He's just a douchebag, slimy creepball like you've seen a million other times. So yeah, throw him out the window. That was the best part.
The answer would be yes. He is in Platoon as and Office Space. Yes, there's a whole. I mean, by the way, I've never told the story here. John C. McGinley is a total classy dude. I had a radio interview with this guy, and didn't think anything about it. He phones in, and he's in. You know, we're in the equivalent of a green room, right? You're going to go on the radio, right? Here you get. He says, "Hey, listen, man, I'm on vacation in Hawaii. I'm really sorry. I didn't want to reschedule. Blah blah blah. So if you hear anything in the background, it's just my kids or whatever." And I'm like, "Dude, you're on vacation in Hawaii with your family, and you're calling for the yeah. I didn't want to cancel. Blah blah blah." I'm like, we can redo that. No, we have this set. Let's do this. And it was like, I kid you not, it was such a class. And he is. Not very many Hollywood actors, can I tell you, are very well read. And what I mean by that is just the way that their vocabulary, how they naturally talk with their vocabulary stuff. You can tell this guy is exceedingly smart and well read. He's a very, very cool dude. I was impressed with my interaction with him anyway. So anyway,
That's good to hear.
the people keep throwing out terrible sequels. So this is actually how this came about, because we had conversations about sitting through some. Are they really that bad sequels? Loki, I think you were trying to get me to watch Caddyshack 2, by the way. So
Caddyshack 2, it's got its funny moments. There's some funny moments in when they're doing the construction stuff, and it's not Caddyshack 1 at all.
So
it's not a horrible movie.
Because with comedies you can get a little more leeway. I think it's what we're
I put it on the list because I was like, I kind of like Caddyshack too, because it is at the very least able to be entertaining. I figured I'd throw a curveball that you wouldn't have expected me to put up.
Well, I didn't expect to do this either, but I am glad that we will be the only ones to talk about Highlander 2. I got a feeling possibly for years to come. I don't know. Darkman 2, Dust Till Dawn 2, Speed 2, Crow 2. Sometimes one and done can be great. Sometimes we just need to leave well enough alone for sure. Platoon keeps coming up for sure.
Yep, Platoon's a great movie.
Late. Did you guys discuss the producers complain about the shooting problem? Oh yeah. Everything was a mess. Everything was terrible.
I don't think we got the bonding company part though.
Which part?
The part about the bonding company shutting down.
Go ahead.
Apparently shutting down the shoot.
Yeah. The financial company just. Everything about this movie is got a story. Chaos. Some of them are like some of the cast have been like, "Let's we did it for the like Michael Ironside said in his quote, did it for the cash." Free trip to Argentina. The Argentinian investors had convinced Christopher Lambert to invest a whole bunch of money in some sort of investment thing, and he lost all of the money. It was just like everything about this is a complete debacle.
And apparently he was only willing to do it if he could get Sean Connery back too. So we got him in this movie just because of that.
Yeah, and Sean made over $3 million for like a week's worth work. I mean, he's just a goat, man.
Nice.
Showed up, flirt with a couple chicks, look hot, walking around, cut a couple lines, and make like a fat check.
He was just when he was getting like dressed for the suit, like he probably insisted they give him like actual whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, I would
whiskey
assume
and cigars.
that's just yeah. Have you seen interviews with Sean Connery? Yeah, there was not even a doubt that guy was actually drinking booze on set.
Sometimes you got to get more smack in the mouth.
Where's
Copa.
my scotch?
Copa. Oh my gosh, brother. Take that up with Zach.
Oh.
You guys.
Oh, this is evil.
Yeah, I'm with you. I cannot believe how bad this was. I was emotionally like PTSD, man. And so I can get you like cast is fine. I'm not going to say amazing, but the cast is fine. I cannot go here. There are shots of this that are terrible, especially compared to the original, which is like years before this one. I thought the swords play was just so cheap and choreographed badly, and just I can't stand it, man.
Yeah, the fight scenes, I legitimately was just like, I was watching them and I was like, oh, I'm just going to look at something else for a minute. Like I was literally bored during the fight scenes because they were really boring. Oh.
So I wanted to bring this up here, just kind of bring up what I thought was one of the fun scenes in the movie, which could have had a lot of potential in like a different movie altogether with a little bit of this concept. It's where they're like running, they're driving the car into like the military base so they can get
prison.
like to the. And so you have these two immortals in the driver and passenger seat getting all shot up, and it's like they're gonna come out of it totally fine. And then when their bodies are pulled out of the car and they're basically on stretchers in the medical wing, like here they are bragging with one another, like I got 106, make that 112.
You're not counting that little flesh wound, are you? It went
Right.
right through me.
It went right through
me.
I love that scene. I think it's hilarious. I think it's a crazy over the top. It's like Bonnie and Clyde, except they're immortal, so it's not going to matter that they're taking all these bullets. My only issue with this scene is how did not a single bullet end up in that trunk?
It
with
makes
that
no
girl?
sense. Just because the plot just said.
Because the plot says.
Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Plot armor. But yeah, other than that, like the back and forth between those two at the end and the morgue, it makes that whole scene.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. And listen, you guys can stop anytime. You have your own channels. If you want to do a Dumber and Dumber 2 stream, that's all on you, Jacob. You do your own right there. So
I couldn't even do a Dumber and Dumber 1.
yeah, Loki. What is something else from that original theatrical version, that VHS version, that they changed that makes this even more frustrating?
A lot of the ending is different, and a lot of stuff's been moved around. The whole ending of this movie feels disjointed. Well, that's because like half of it didn't happen at the end of the movie. It happened in the middle of the movie. So when you're watching the Renegade Cut, it's like, oh, well, I can see this is supposed to be over here, and this was supposed to happen here. And why did they edit it like this? Oh, because they had no choice and they wanted to get as much like that doesn't happen at the very end of the movie. It's maddening, and you have even less Sean Connery and so it's just they tried. It's like trying to patch a bullet wound with a Band-Aid. Okay, so you're not bleeding as much, but you're still bleeding and you still have a bullet in you. Well, that's what this movie is. That's what the Renegade Cut is they put a Band-Aid over the damn bullet wound. So yeah, you get to see a little bit more. Yeah, you get a little more of Connor and Ramirez, but it's still shit. The entire thing is shit. It's built on crap. The foundation's crap. The movie's crap. The walls are crap. Everything's crap. So it doesn't matter whether you watch the VHS version, which is shorter and more compact, and they've got some stuff out of order, and you're like, why is this here and why is that over there?
Yeah.
But then you've got this thing where, oh, well, now it's welcome, brothers, instead of welcome to the planet Zeist. Why the hell is he saying, we're from the planet Zeist? Why are the rebels on this other planet? It's not even their home planet. They meet in a ship. You're going to cut out the little ship that supposedly got them to this planet. Where did they come from? We're going to send you to a prison on Earth, a penal colony, where you're going to be reborn and nothing can kill you. That makes a whole lot of sense. We're going to send you back in time or forward in time or what? That makes just as little sense as the first thing.
They didn't even establish that this is a group of people who don't believe in the death penalty or anything. Like, they didn't even try to set anything up. It's like, listen, well, this is, their belief system is we just don't do death penalty or something like that. Like, you can go to this planet and have that out, but we don't do that here or something. I don't know, something. They made no effort whatsoever.
We're so against the death penalty. You're going to be immortal.
Yeah.
Well, like even in this movie, they say it's because your people are already immortal. That's why we're going to do this, which I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any damn sense either. Cause you already know you can cut his head off. So it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I noticed that when I was first watching the flashbacks in the beginning of this movie, I'm like, oh, okay. So they switched it from an alien movie to a time travel movie. Yeah. That's going to make it better.
Yeah.
And Loki, Connery was thinking about Zardoz. So it's possible. It's possible.
It's possible.
Prefer red shield, blue shield? I think we hate everything. Yeah, we're with you here. Just we hate it all.
Like, if you're gonna do it, you might as well. It would be better to keep it as a red shield, just because it gives that one line of, the one line where Luis is like saying, she's never seen a blue sky before.
Oh yeah. That would make more sense.
There can only be one.
If any of it makes sense.
Or five.
Even to enjoy the series, the television series, you have to come to accept the fact that Connor didn't win the prize in the first movie. So the first movie is a totally different universe than all of this other stuff. It is not connected to the second movie, the third movie, the series, none of it. It's all in its own little weird bubble universes where things changed. So you have to accept that. There are things that people will accept. And guess what? A lot of the fans of the original movie that loved it enjoyed the series. And they even touch on the movie where one of the watchers is like, when your Klansman killed Kurgan, he did us all a favor. Well, in this reality, guess what? That wasn't the last immortal alive, and there's a whole bunch more immortals that you never knew about. But he still won the prize in the first movie. He still killed the last immortal. They weren't all hiding on holy ground or some BS like that. It's a different universe. So, but go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
No, you're right. Yeah, because it all comes off as like different universes, because even the third one tries to like ignore the second one and go, oh, well, it's because he was trapped and he was basically essentially dead. And now that he's back, it's like, well, that doesn't make any damn sense either. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, the final dimension.
Yeah.
So this sequence made my head hurt so bad. Like we're gonna stop the spinning blades, and then the door just opens
with bagpipes.
Yes, playing Amazing Grace.
He can play Amazing Grace and have electric balls come out of his hand, and then the door just opens. Like, I'm like, okay, I don't understand. I really don't. Like, so.
The only door thing and this is me trying to fill in logic for this, is because the only thing I could think about with the doors was it would be a safety measure once the fan started moving down, that they would automatically close so nobody ended up inside of there. And then once the fan got above a certain height, they would automatically reopen again. But that's me stretching.
Yeah, I can only give you like, you're just reaching for that, because there's none of that explained at all. It just happens that way. So Yeah, Michael Madsen's little sister is pretty hot. Right.
Like I'm just
like old
in this
movies.
scene.
No.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was like in this scene. All I'm thinking of in the back of my head is Luke screaming, "Obi-Wan!"
It's exactly that kind of scene.
We've got to get rid of the mentor again, and we're sure as hell not paying Sean Connery another $3 million to stick around an additional week of filming.
I just thought they ripped off Willy Wonka. I was just like, just Grandpa Joe, how are we going to get out of this mess? Yeah, I don't know. It was crazy. This is
this was so ridiculous, and like just you can concentrate all of your life force into one thing and pull off a miracle. It's like, what? Who the hell came up with that, and where is any of that from anywhere else from anything we've seen? That literally made no damn sense.
I was inspired by a song I heard on the radio from one band, Huey Lewis and the News, called "The Power of Love."
God, oh my!
That's the power of love.
I don't know anybody else, but I actually want to hear Sean Connery just say these random things that Ironcaster comes up with. It's actually pretty funny.
Well, we need if we do that, and that explanation, we need Huey Lewis to stand up and go, "I'm afraid you're just too far full of bullshit." Next, please. Bring in the next person, please.
Oh, I love it so much. This movie is so bad. Like Clancy Brown was actually asked to come back as Kurgan as well. I mean, because that could have worked. And then he just like, no. He's like, no, you're not getting me. I'm not coming back to this freaking dog crap. I don't need the money that bad.
There's this whole thing. They ran General Katana over, and they drive for like 5 miles.
Yeah, just keep going.
They do that in every Jason movie, so I wasn't really worried about that.
Mm. Yeah,
I don't.
That whole fight scene on top of the truck just like was so over the top and ridiculous. It's like, okay, she had to be going straight the entire time. She could have never taken any curve. There's even one scene where it literally looks like they're driving away at like 15 miles an hour. Like they didn't even bother trying to speed it up. They looked so bad.
No, they filmed on location in Argentina. We got the real life experience in that sequence for sure.
15 miles an hour going down those dangerous roads. Yep, absolutely. Yes. I agree with that. Yeah.
It's like they run him over. They saw him. They looked directly at him, and they just said, that's good enough. No, you back that thing up. You run him over a couple times.
That's a good point. Most people have a full measure of life. My reaction, huh? He's going to blow up a ceiling fan? Yes. And do it to amazing grace.
I've got to shut down the tractor beam, Luke.
The best part was you almost feel like let's add a layer of absurdity to this Loki. Like he does that scene, that's what's in the script, and he goes, "You think we could play Amazing Grace when I do this? You think we could get that?" I could just, it's like that level of absurdity.
Okay, and so this ending right here, this actually kind of irritated me watching this at the end because I'm like, I guess I didn't remember exactly how it ended, and maybe obviously it might have been cut a little bit different for this version as well. But I'm like,
completely different. Yeah,
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I know like the ending where him and her like go off into the ether, like
that's a different version too. There's different versions. Yeah.
Okay. There's that many. Holy cow. Okay. So one of the things that irritated
me. Which one's the good one?
Yeah.
The TV series.
There you go. Like one of the things that irritated me about this is I was like, okay, I thought maybe it was going to be the quickening that kind of like destroyed this thing and kind of like damaged it and caused the shield to go away. Because one of the comments that they made earlier is there's not enough power on the planet Earth to shut this thing down safely, right?
That's what happens in the theatrical cut. The quickening overpowers it. Yes.
Okay, so that's probably what I was thinking then, because I watched this and I'm like, he just steps into it. What kind of damn sense is that going to make? Because technically he's not supposed to be immortal anymore because you just killed the last immortal on the planet until they send another immortal. Like, it's like, that doesn't make any damn sense. Like if he was still like glowing from like the quickening and then was like all charged up and then walked into it, it would make sense. But he walks into it and then all of a sudden it's like the quickening happens all over again and he gets like all the little ghosty things around it. I'm like, that literally made no damn sense whatsoever. So yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, my thought on this was effectively to akin of not realizing that it was not realizing that it was like quickening powered. That the idea that he could have had this chance to give himself the ability to grow old, and thereby break the cycle of being immortal. but in order to save the world, he has to give up this chance to finally be able to grow old. Like, that was an angle they could have gone with it.
The movie still sucks, dude. So even
Yeah, it
if they
doesn't matter
did
what
that,
they do.
it's
I like the
just-
fact that there's like this quote fairy tale ending where they both just go off to Planet Zeist. I think that would have been even funnier in the Renegade Cut since we haven't talked about Planet Zeist. We got rid of Planet Zeist. We have none of those references. And then, where are we going, baby? You're just gonna go back. We're going back home. What home? We're just going. And they just disappear. It's like, what was that? Just, you know, if we're gonna just make people crazy, we might as well just go all in.
Poochie went back home to his home planet.
The only thing that can make this movie good at this point, Loki, is if we could do a supercut of all of the bad sequels and just blend them all together into some sort of like big multiversal nightmare.
I love the way that sounds.
Somebody just wakes up in a multiverse and they're just subjected to all of these are the hit movies that everybody loves, and they're just all blended together into one big nightmare.
Welcome to Clockwork Orange, brought to you by Pops Talk. By
Purple.
The Highlander edition.
The fall of the
Hard.
multiverse.
Talk Hard. Yeah, the Clockwork Orange Talk Hard edition. Thank you so much.
Son of the
No.
Mask, Renegade Cut. In a City of Angels. Oh,
Yeah, like-
man.
That's just so dumb.
Yeah, all the makeup. We've got to be honest.
No,
Everything
we didn't
about
even talk about
makeup
that.
in this film was so bad. Like I think
yeah.
Jesse mentioned the head or the face they tried to throw into the subway sequence was just this random shot, and you're like,
Oh,
why
yeah.
did they even bother? Why did we even do this? It's terrible.
But yeah, Christopher Lambert's makeup, making him look like an old man, did look really bad. Like
He
it looked
looked-
like it was bad.
He looked like Goldmember's cousin or something. Like he's about to eat a piece of his skin and be like, tasty.
I cannot
Kinda
remember the
tasty.
name. I never can remember the name of this movie, but like it's a comedy from back in the day, and they get trapped on this place that's operating on this freaking government thing that's like pre-Magna Carta. And the guy there's this really nasty scene where the dad of the group like puts all this mustard all over a hot dog. It's like just this big disgusting meeting scene. And I can't ever remember the name of the damn movie, but somebody
Oh,
told me
yeah.
what it was.
Nothing to lose.
And he looks just like that. Christopher Lambert's character looks just like the maniacal guy in that one.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll bring you up a picture.
But also,
Dang.
don't forget, like, not only was the aging makeup on him awful, what about his old man voice?
There you go. Highlander, the multiverse of madness. I think madness needs to be replaced. So it would be, some sort of the Renegade multiverse in the City of Angels. Yeah, we'd figure out something there. So
Speed 2.
by the way, this was great. That's a great synopsis for what Loki was explaining earlier with the different universes and dimensions. Yet choose your own Highlander. Oh, that's great.
And so
when
the movie
Katana throws-
ends.
Gimli, Blake, whatever his name is, it's one of the worst following dummy shots I've seen in a movie, so they couldn't hire a stuntman. No, they weren't going to hire a stuntman. They couldn't afford stuntman. The stuntman was high on cocaine and had to be fired. We talked about that earlier. Like Michael Ironside did the subway shot because of that. So, yeah, no. Oh, that's pretty funny. The multiverse movie, Ready Highlander 1. That's kind of fun. Hey, we could make this shite not smell like shite. Take all the shitiest parts into the shite and mix it all in a bucket and make it smell like Carosa's. It's foolproof. Here we go. Nothing to lose. It's pretty close, actually.
That what you're talking about,
Yep.
Tyler?
That's exactly what I was talking about. That's exactly what I thought when I saw that with the freaking wrinkly, ding dong nose and everything else. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. What'd you say the name of that movie was again?
Nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. So, yeah, I only saw that movie like once on like a Saturday afternoon, like on UHF television or VHF television, where they'd throw the old movies on in the afternoons. That's the only reason I've seen that. But yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
I hope he doesn't get a runny nose.
That's just a frightening image right there.
It is. It's terrifying.
As soon as you started talking about the face and the hot dog, I knew exactly what
Yeah, you did.
you were
Yep.
talking
That's-
about.
That's what I always have to say, and everybody remembers that scene. Everybody remembers that scene. Oh my god, yeah, that's freaking great. Yeah.
That was horrifying. That was just absolutely horrifying.
See, that was more horrifying than the whole Highlander 2 movie right there in that one scene.
Okay, you two give us your final takes on where this kind of lands for you. Like, I don't know. I can't give it a star. I'm still trying to figure out, like, what do I give it for just the couple of Sean Connery moments that do not totally suck? Like, is that enough for like a half a star or one? I can't go. I don't think I can go 1 star, but I might be able to go half a star on my 5-star system. So that's about where I land on this movie. It's that bad.
Would that equate to a 1 out of 10?
It'd be about a 1 out of 10. There's the baby. Oh, the newbie's here. 4 days.
Yes, 4 days. Yeah, Mama had to go drop off one of the others at Girl Scouts. So.
See, this is a boss YouTuber move right here. We're in the middle of a stream, just doing the dad move. That's how you do it right there.
My favorite part about being, because like this is my full-time job, right? Even after YouTube getting my first stuff getting uked over there, a lot of my friends have come over and were very supportful on Rumble, and we've been keeping this going because this is my full-time job, and that's my favorite part about this is I'm the one that gets to go pick up my kids from school every day. You know what I mean? They're not going to a daycare. I don't have to worry about them going to some, after school program where you hear all the horror stories about that. You know what I mean? I'm here for all of that kind of stuff, and yeah, my favorite part about this job. So. And yeah, we can totally just put the baby on
Undead Ramen. I mean, we know you're talking about Zardoz. So as a member, you have access to those wonderful emojis. And there is a beautiful Loki Zardoz emoji that you can blow up in chat right now. Okay, Ironcaster. My friend. Oh, how can I not encourage them, bro? How much do we have over your head? Like, you're, no offense, but you're kind of like high up on the pecking order. Like, we don't get to hold much over your head. Ironcaster, my friend, where are you going to throw this down at here?
Okay, like I said on Twitter last night, this movie is awful. Like it has plot elements of like 4 movies thrown together. It should not have been made, but I can't help but really enjoy some of the really like out there moments in it. Michael Ironside absolutely steals this movie. And Sean Connery is Sean Connery. How can you hate him in anything? That said, it is still a terrible movie. I like elements of it. This is like a 3 out of 10. This is a guilty pleasure.
Okay. I can see Ironcaster giving this a 3. That actually makes sense. I can see that. And I can see now also why you wanted Jesse here to try to put some even weight in the other side of the scale, since Loki and I collectively might give this a star, like together. Like we just know this is so bad. I know it might end at 0.5 for both of us. I mean, honestly. What do you think, Jesse? What are you thinking? Where you come down after rewatching something like that?
After rewatching it, after seeing it as a kid and all of that other kind of stuff, it's like when I usually go like the 1 to 10 scale too, and I would give this a 4. And I would give this a 4 because kind of like what Ironcaster said, it's kind of a guilty pleasure. There's certain aspects of enjoy. This isn't a movie that I hate from the beginning to end. Yes, it is riddled with plot holes. Going from the first movie to the second movie, you're going to be like, what the, no matter what version you watch, you're going to be going, what the, no matter what version you watch. So it's going to be like one of those, it's like, there's enough fun, wacky zaniness in for it. And I love Sean Connery. I love Christopher Lambert. I watched some of the special features and some of the behind the scenes when they talk about certain scenes and they call it like the bang up against the wall. Like I always laugh. So yeah, this is a movie that like, if somebody wants to go, hey, do you want to watch something really stupid that's going to probably make you feel kind of dumb afterwards, but at the exact same time, you're like, there's a lot of good, just fun silliness in it, then I'd be down to watch this one. So I don't hate this as much as a lot of people. I definitely understand, especially if you went and saw this in the theater, like for the first time after you saw the other one, I would completely understand. But I was in a much different world with Highlander when I first watched these. I had all of this. I had like all the way up to 3, plus I had the television series and the animated series to all kind of like dive into. So yeah, I think there's redeeming parts to this movie. I think some of the character actors are great, but yeah, the effects are horrendous. We talked about earlier, the decapitation scene early on, the porcupine crazy guys. They look horrible. They look ridiculous, but for some reason I still want a figurine of one of them.
Oh dear Lord!
But-
Oh dear Lord! Okay, now you're in timeout now. Joe brings up a great point too. There's a comment about Michael Ironside's character is like, this doesn't look like Kansas. It's like,
Yeah.
what? The freaking Wizard of Oz on Zeist. That is so funny, Joe. Great catch. Great catch.
He does this a lot, actually. He's like, keep the tip, because he's like,
Yeah, like,
he's
what
like takes the taxi.
Put it on my
cab.
tab. Put it
Put
on
it on my tab.
Throw a
Yeah,
little
it's like,
something
what? You have
extra for
freaking
yourself
tabs on
there,
Zeist? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
like I
then-
said, it
so,
makes
like-
no sense.
And I think it does help as well that, you kind of know you're going into it, you're going to watch a bad movie. But this isn't like the modern bad movies where they just want to lecture you and berate you with the message. It looks like they were having some fun with this movie. And
No, they were not.
as
They
a
were
result,
tormented.
I feel like
they were not having fun. This was Ed Wood bad. This was it isn't bad because of the message or it's bad because of quality bad. It's just bad by production meddling and studio meddling. This is Ed Wood bad. This is not this isn't like Marvel bad.
Even then though, Michael Ironside says, I'm just gonna ham it up, and it sounded like he had some fun with the role.
Well, he was
This
probably
movie,
high
I
as a
wanna sit
kite
down-
with the cocaine stunt double. He just didn't get caught. I mean, obviously the story is pretty legendary at this point.
It's a movie I want to sit down with friends and watch, so we could all riff track this thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, so I will. I wasn't going to do it, but I have to do it because we have to have something positive, Loki. We have to have something positive. You have seen these because I thought I was going to sell them, Loki. Nobody bought them. So I went to a show. Some of you guys know I've been doing some comic shows, stuff like that. Went to a show. This did not sell, so I actually have multiple copies. I still have these. Ready?
Oh, cool.
Nice.
That's a beautiful cover, though.
So there's a couple different covers. There's actually a sketch cover. So I will have to get with. Some of you want to get with me. Let me know if that's something you want. Feel free to work that out. I am.
Dude, throw that one that you just held up. Throw that in that box of cards.
I will have to reach out to you when I pull the other ones so you can see which
Yes.
ones you want. Because I think I have all 3 or 4 variants of
I'll
that
take
book.
that. Whatever you want to charge me for it, I'll take it.
Yeah, they're
now.
yeah.
There you go.
So Loki can vouch for the quality of books too. I don't.
Yes.
I
I've
do not
ordered a couple
dabble.
of things from Pops, and it's always
Even-
come great.
So if something is even remotely subpar, like below very fine, you would be told. So like the books I'm throwing his way are a couple really old Superman, like 600 and 400 and stuff like that. But stuff like this, these are beautiful. So, but all right, guys. Well, listen, this has been about as blast as we can have. What I wanted to close with was the fact that
you never asked me for my score.
you don't want to score. You don't have a score. It might be a negative number at this point. I don't even know. Okay, would you ever even bother setting? I mean, how would you even still have a VHS? I couldn't even imagine.
Oh, I bought it. I went and found it. I found someone who had one, and I bought it from him. So here's the thing, and this is funny that you brought this up, brother. The whole movie thing, going to see it in theater. When I was like 8, I asked my dad. I said, "Dad, what's the movie with the magic swords?" And he goes, "Magic swords." I was like, "Yeah, the magic swords that have like fireballs and lightning coming out of them." And he was like, "Son, I don't know what the hell you're talking about." And I'm like, it had James Bond in it. When I said James Bond, that's when it clicked. He goes, "Oh, Highlander." I was like, "Do we have that movie?" He goes, "No, I don't think we do." We ended up buying the VHS for Highlander. We ended up going to see Highlander 2. And it was
Wow, your
horrible.
dad had to have lost his mind.
Absolutely. Well, he knew I really loved the first one. So he would every once in a while he would do nice shit like that, like going to see Transformers. He couldn't stand Transformers. He was like, "Why am I going to take you in? Why are we spending money to see a cartoon? You can sit on the couch every Saturday and watch the cartoon and have your breakfast. Why am I taking you in theater and paying for it?" And eventually, he kind of got it with the Transformers thing. But, the Highlander thing, the movie was horrible. I would watch every other movie again before I'd watch this movie again. And the only reason why I did it is because you asked me to.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were also going to watch the VHS copy. So you actually watch this movie twice. I would never have asked you to watch twice. By the way, Joe, this is 100% the type of environmentalist messaging, because people talk about there wasn't messaging in this. 100% was messaging. That whole ozone layer shield nonsense is entirely the stuff that was happening at that time. I even made fun of that in a video in college. We did an ozone layer with we had a little kid playing with like a spray can. I'm destroying the ozone layer. Yeah, so it was like a cliched joke. So,
Oh,
Jesse's got to
you
burp
might
that
have
baby.
gas. You might have to burp it.
Yeah, burp that baby.
Burp the little
Burp that baby.
I already got one.
Already.
That's probably why she wants the rest of the bottle now.
So we'll close with this though, because I think what's fascinating about this, because really, let's be honest, right? Highlander it hangs its hat on one fantastic movie with obviously for normies, I can see how special effects were dated, but it's one great movie. Then you have the TV show that some people haven't even seen, but this is not an IP that people think about negatively. So is there hope for IPs that are getting destroyed right now when you see a movie this bad as the second movie? So like for instance, Loki and I were talking about it very briefly because I didn't want to spoil this conversation. But as I thought about Highlander 2, why we should even talk about it, part of what I thought about was I don't think of Highlander in any negative way, despite how much I despise this movie.
It's true.
And I'm thinking about other IPs and how I'm really suffering with like the Disney version of a PTSD of what they've done to me with my love of Star Wars and Marvel right now, where I haven't even watched some of the original stuff other than Star Wars Day. I haven't watched anything. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I don't feel any of that negativity about Highlander. I need to just control my emotions better. Ironcaster, what's your first thoughts to that theory?
Well, what I'm thinking might be is that to my knowledge, they've never really gone back earlier, like before the first Highlander, and we didn't get like a prequel that has to go and like completely change and ruin like the history of the characters and the events of that movie and Sean Connery's character. No, you can go enjoy that first movie, and it's like there's no events that came before it that really went and altered that film. Plus, the Queen soundtrack is just too good to not enjoy.
Okay, all right. Jesse, what about you? I mean, my theory is that I think that something like this, for some reason, this wasn't like an IP damaging film. It didn't ruin, even though we ended up with like a third Highlander film in the series, whatever. But it seems like something like this. I'm not saying that we overreact to modern entertainment, but in some ways, this movie is a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes for a reason. I literally, as a poor, dead broke a college student, was ready to walk out of a theater. I cannot even imagine the look on Loki's dad watching this abomination in a theater with his kid. It didn't get destroyed. His legacy.
I think the reason why we see why we see the damage to our emotional attachment to a lot of these franchises with the modern era versus these movies back then, right? Back then, these movies were just bad, right? The scripts were bad, the settings were bad. You know, somebody tried maybe to make a movie that they thought was going to be good, although obviously it didn't pan out that way in any way, shape, or form. I think the difference now is because we're so much more directly connected to the people behind these movies. And so when we go out there and criticize these movies that are bad, like what Marvel has done, what Star Wars has done, we immediately hear their responses, and their immediate responses are, well, you're just a bunch of dumb idiot fans. And I think that's the difference. Now, do I think anybody behind this movie would have ever said anything like that in the press back then? I don't think so. And I think that's because Hollywood was different back then. Back then, Hollywood stars were still stars. They knew their place. The studios controlled them. The studios made sure they didn't say dumb things out there in the media. I think that's what's changed things now, is they will go out there and tell you why they are destroying your brand. They will tell you they never cared about your IP. They just wanted to use it to push their agenda. They will tell you this blatantly, obviously, openly, and out in the public. And then they'll call you all kinds of horrible names when you try to give them legitimate criticisms about, oh, I don't know, the CGI is horrible. You have a whole bunch of horrible plot points. You know what I mean? Whereas movies and franchises back then, you didn't see that happen. You know, that kind of stuff was, you didn't get Siskel and Ebert getting called racists for not liking Highlander 2. You know what I mean? And so I think it's because Hollywood has changed and our interaction with Hollywood has changed where I think that's caused more damage to these IPs. Like if somebody would have created, like, this is what, and I can point it out. I can give you a great example of this, right? The Disney Star Wars sequel movies were horrible, right? We all pretty much agree with that. But when we got Mando season 1, a lot of the fans were like, oh, okay, we're willing to give this a shot. Season 2. Okay. We're willing to give you a shot. And then we saw the intentional destruction of Obi-Wan Kenobi. We saw the intentional destruction of Anakin Skywalker. We saw the intentional destruction of Boba Fett. And the writers, the directors, the producers all came out and told us exactly why they were doing it. Whereas guess what? The people behind the Argentina slush fund that was down there trying to fund this Highlander 2 movie, they were just a bunch of idiots that had no idea what they were doing. And they were just wanting to shove everything into a melting pot and try to come up with something neat. And it didn't work. Whereas we know what they're doing now.
I see. In that case, I bet there was some excitement over getting like a big Hollywood film.
Oh no, they feel like this literally is like we've seen these characters in other movies, right? These are the rich, douchey guys who want to make a movie, and they want to get their girlfriends in it and that kind of thing. So, all right, Loki, kind of what's your take on this legacy issue that I'm kind of dancing around a little bit tonight?
Well, like Jesse said, we didn't have social media back then. You might disagree with your buddy. Your buddy might disagree with you, or you might agree on something. I remember watching this movie multiple times in my game room back when I was a kid, smoking reefer on the couch with my friends, laughing. I remember that, and I still give this movie a 0 because it is that bad. Why did we watch it? Because we all loved Kurgan in the first movie. And, I know his name. Here I am, down. I mean, we loved that shit. So seeing the second movie is something that we watched, and we watched more than once, and we watched again, but we were also smoking dope and acting like idiots, teenage idiots. So it just wasn't there. That social media interaction was not there back then. So it wasn't lit the world on fire. And you didn't have producers and movie makers coming out and saying, the only reason why you said this is because you're an Ist, you're an Ovi, you're Yahtzee. Bring up Siskel and Ebert. I guarantee you, there would have, if they were today, someone would have called them. Someone would have called them, you know what, because of their religion, and called them Isobaniatis because of the way they looked at the movie. I guarantee you, someone would do that today. So it was a different time. So it doesn't poison everything that comes after it, even though that everything besides the series that came after it was absolute trash. Besides Mako in 3, I'll give it to Mako in 3. I was like, oh, dude, it's Mako from Conan. But even he doesn't stick around that long before he's like, oh, no, I am out. Goodbye, Kana. I cut off my head. You go bye-bye. Ha-ha. Even that, this movie is crap. I'm only in it for 2 minutes. Even that is like, yeah. So, I mean, it's its thing, and it's a product of its time.
Ironcaster, what are you trying to say?
I was just saying, they try to go after Siskel and Ebert today for the crimes of being old white men.
Yes.
Yeah. The internet and social media is a big factor indeed. And then everybody's talking about Star Wars here, a holiday special, and Undead Ron was telling a story about wanting a stuffed animal pretending to believe in Santa to get it. Didn't know him, so yeah. All right. Spirit, Frank Miller, Dog Crap. Yeah, Clown Show. Got it. Yeah. Well, we have. Yeah, it is. I'm not watching this again. I can't believe I sat through this, but I had never seen the Renegade Cut, so I have to be honest. My memory is so much worse than this experience was. It was absolutely awful to go through this movie today, but it wasn't as bad as I remember the theater experience being with all the alien references. Because I was like, what on earth are they talking about? Like, what is even going on?
It was better than you remembered.
Better is still a 0. Like I'm still at the bottom.
Yeah, the patch
Band-Aid on a gunshot wound is even. Yeah. I mean, it's size of the turd. It's size of the turd. There's still no sprinkles on the turds. Like it's still just the size of the turd.
Come watch the Highlander cut, or come watch the Renegade Cut. It's better than you remember.
It was it was awful. It was awful. But all right, listen, everybody. These guys are amazing. We are really right on the clock, but I want to give everybody a chance to plug some of the stuff going on. Ironcaster, let me start with you, brother. You got stuff going on all the time. You've been really a lot busier, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. I'll be on tonight with T-shirt and over on his channel for the Midweek in Geek, where we're gonna be getting into a little bit of Wizards of the Coast news, because it wouldn't be a day that ends in Y without Wizards of the Coast coming up in the news. Like some of the former employees who got laid off are kind of starting to come up and speak about what was going on behind the scenes.
That's always interesting. Always interesting. So. All right, Jesse, thanks for being with us tonight. It's always great to meet somebody new and hang out with somebody who hasn't been on the show before. Great to have you. Tell everybody about where they can find you and things like that. I know all the links will be in the description. I'll update them after the show, guys, or probably to be tomorrow, to be honest, by the time I get to it. But yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm back over on YouTube now. Just launched a new channel on January 1st, The Common Nerds. You can find me over there on that one. I think we just crossed like 50 subscribers or 60 subscribers over there after just doing it for a week. So that's been pretty cool. But you can catch me on Rumble live Monday through Friday at The Common Nerd at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We do the morning prep. And then we generally do an evening stream. Winding Down Wednesdays are our big ones. That's kind of like the big weekly show where we have all the guests on, and we generally try to promote like highlight independent content, because not only do I scream and holler and roast all the bad stuff, I also try to promote a lot of the independent stuff out there that's really good, whether it be a movie, whether it be a comic book, whatever it is. We have a lot of cool stuff on there that we do that. Friday night, I've got Comic Shop Talk with 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. Saturday, we've got Vets Talking over on the Vets Talking channel. I'm a producer over there. Wednesdays, we also have the Midweek Hump. That one as well. And then Sundays, we've got the Bible study at 2 p.m. And I'm actually probably going to be doing some video gaming, probably some Fortnite or something like that over on my Kick and my Rumble tonight around 9:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. So 10 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, so keep an eye out for that. And I appreciate you. I thought this was fun. I figured I would kind of be the bright spot. About 5 minutes after talking to you guys about this, I figured I might be the bright spot on this panel. So I thought this was going to be fun, and I did. I enjoyed this. I appreciate you having me on, Pops. Stone Loki, good to see you, man. This was a blast. And Ironcaster, I see you all the time. And shout out to the chat. You guys have been absolutely hilarious tonight with all your comments. So I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Loki, tomorrow, YouTube Talk.
Busy
day.
YouTube Talk in the morning. And I agree with Jesse. It was good seeing you again, brother, and getting to hang out with you. Always getting it's always great to get to hang out with Common Nerd and with Ironcaster. Anytime I actually make it over to Nick Weiser's, which I usually never do. He's a great guy. He's got a great channel. Don't focus on me. Focus on all these other guys. That's so important, is to promote these wonderful guys who are doing stuff. It sucks having to start your channel over again, brother. I've seen that happen over and over and over again in the past 5 years. I've been on here doing this shit. It's terrible. Never want to see that happen to anybody. But I'm glad that you're getting new subscribers and things are rolling along. Yeah, YouTube Talk. We got YouTube Talk tomorrow. We've got Comic Book Roundtable later that night. After that, at 7 p.m., we've got Thirsty Thursdays. I don't know what the hell we're going to do on Thursday. We're going to do something that morning. We've got me and Adega maybe making a comeback. I don't know. It depends on how Adega's doing on Thursday night. And then we've got the Week in Review with Dave Bob and the lady, Arwen Avalon, coming up Friday morning. And we should have a late night show. We have missed the late night show because I had surgery last week on my wrist. We should be coming back from that. So we should have it Friday. And I'm going to do my very best to go by and hang out with those cotton crazies, the crazy cotton guys over on the Cotton Connection Saturday night. So I'm going to do my best to do that. I don't know if I can do the puppet, but we'll see. I'll see what I can do. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
crazy
That's awesome.
week.
That's good. That's good though. I have some IRL stuff that's happened, guys. So yeah, there's some stuff that hasn't manifested in 24 like I had hoped. I actually have a Christmas review I didn't even finish. It was that a Christmas horror story, the anthology movie over on Tubi that has William Shatner in it. And I got to be honest, I'm actually only like 2/3 of the way through. It actually is not that bad. It's kind of like Krampus was, where it's not good, but it's not terrible. It's like if you're into like horror and stuff like that, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever. So I'm going to try to finish that up and maybe get to that. But yeah, I don't even have anything recorded. I don't have stuff kind of like lined up like I normally do, but I appreciate everybody's support as we try to figure things out in the new year.
So you're saying it's better than Highlander 2?
Yeah. I don't even know. Okay, we'll close with this. Highlander 2 or Shark Side of the Moon, Loki?
Ooh.
Just kill me. Just put me out of my misery. Old Yeller me out of existence.
It's two completely bad sides of a coin. Like they're both so bad. It's like for two completely different reasons. I don't know. So anyway.
Clockwork Orange me, whatever. Just no.
No, wait. We're saving that for Halo. Halo's right around the corner. So
don't remind me of that.
Yeah. I have to remind you. You might just sneak off to Argentina to make some random B movie.
Okay,
It'd probably be better than Halo.
Yeah.
I have to point this out.
Okay, hurry up now.
Shark Side of the Moon does not have a critic score. Not enough people have reviewed. Not enough critics.
Yeah, because you have to have 5 people to do a score. Yeah. I didn't do a review. Yeah. I'm not. I even tried to re-register to be a critic through Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm not jumping through that many hoops. There's way too many questions. If it's not a paying gig, you're not getting that much information out of me, man. I'm not getting it. It's so stupid. I'm not doing it. So they're not going to get my review. Because I literally have people petitioning me, like smaller films, like could you put it on Rotten Tomatoes? I'm like, no, I'm not freaking putting crap on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like they're not getting free content from me. So. But listen, again, thanks to everyone. Let me echo what Jesse said and Loki and everybody else. Just support one another, enjoy each other's company and stuff like that. It's great to get to know folks. You guys in chat are amazing. It's always doing that. If you missed anything, feel free to go back and leave those comments in there. We love seeing those and hearing from you. Next week, we'll be back with Ice Pirates. We're hoping to have another special guest as well, but Ice Pirates is at least more of a palate cleanser. At least something a little more fun and frivolous, and maybe we'll have a couple laughs. So that's something so I think this is every week kind of rotates the perspective. So I think for me, I haven't seen it in a while. Ironcaster, you've never seen it. Then the week after that is Howl's Moving Castle, which you haven't seen in a while, and I have never seen. So there you go. But listen, everybody out there, be blessed. Make tomorrow a little bit better than today. And can't wait for you to be back again. Talk hard.
Ross, all I do is chill. My life is a thrill, for real, Bob Ross. I be too calm for the drama.